The dial, like you said, you can't find a better one. This is incredible. I said it before, I'll say it again. Sometimes you just have to like put a watch on and just like relate to how it makes you feel. And whenever I put these watches on my wrist, I just feel cool. I just feel so cool wearing these. What? No way. No way we're winning this. I mean, listen, if it's gonna go cheap, we have to buy it. I'm gonna bid 60. No, it's already, somebody took it. 65, still should bid. Oh, somebody just took it again. The low at 70, it's now 85. Yeah, we're out. We are here at Sotheby's for their previews for their June live sale happening in a few days' time. We're going to be inspecting some watches that we are interested in bidding on and joined by our dear friend Richard Lopez of Sotheby's to help us fill in some information and provide some context to some of the watches that we are interested in. Let's jump right into it. I guess in no particular order, we picked out about 15 lots that we were interested in the live sale. They have a lot of great stuff in their online sale as well. So go take a look. I'm going to start right here. This is lot 38 with an estimate of 15 to 25,000. It is a 16753 two-tone GMT-Master retailed by Tiffany & Co. Right off the bat, I want to look at these hands, which may have been replaced. Looks like they're a little whiter.
They are very...
Loop it. Let's flash it. Yeah, so these are Luminova hands that were replaced in service. It's a knock on the watch, but still, like, finding this combination with Tiffany & Co. is very, very difficult.
That's cool. It's like a Clint Eastwood with like a Tiffany & Co.
Well, it also tells you that the watch was worn and it was serviced, it was cared for, like a watch from that period.
Surprising that somebody would have bought a Rolex at Tiffany would have it serviced regularly.
And by the way, these hands with original tritium are out there, so you could always put original trans and put these service hands to the side and sell with both, should you want to do that.
As long as it doesn't chip and fall into the movement. The hands, they usually chip and then they fall into the movement and falls down. So that's why they put the service hands on, which I would recommend for daily use.
Talking about the flaking tritium.
Yeah, I mean, Rolex is always going to, you know, if they see any issue at all with any part on the watch, going to replace it. And that's how they're trained at school these days. But overall, the watch is nice. No stretch in the bracelet, and it looks to be the original bracelet with 50 end links, 550 end pieces, which is absolutely correct and very hard to find, surprisingly. Usually they're more service or later bracelets, but I like the watch.
What do you think the premium on the Tiffany would be?
If it didn't have replaced hands, I would say that's a 25 to 30K retail watch.
Okay.
Because of that, and the estimate being 15 to 25 after you factor in buyer's premium and all that stuff.
So you'd want to be like 18, 19 all in?
Yeah, it'd have to be right at the low, you know, so I would have to bid at the low and then, you know, try to sell it in the 20 to 22 range kind of thing.
Fair enough.
But I think it's a nice watch. Where do you want to go next?
I will jump into something completely different, and that will be the Sector Dial 130.
That's one of my favorite Pateks of all time.
So this is a snapback Calatrava style case, a mid-century chronograph with the most desirable configuration of number 1, stainless steel, extremely rare. Number 2, Sector Dial, extremely rare, which is a scientific dial. And
tell us, where did this watch come from? Extract, all the goodies?
Everything is extracted, original owner. If you look at the dial, it's a two-tone dial, sector dial. So it's really, really vivid. If you take it in the sunlight, it just pops out to you.
Yeah, you can see that, like, when you turn, especially when you turn it, that's when you see the enamel's very, very nice. It's still, you know, got the Zeppelin.
It has a few little discolorizations in certain spots, but that's from aging. That's from aging.
But you know what, and I noticed that most sector dials have some kind of patina or aging. They're never perfect.
No, but you also rarely see this in honest condition. Like, a lot of them are like, you can tell.
What's the estimate on this thing? Laughable. 80 to 160. Very low.
We have high hopes for this watch because of the condition. The dial is just pops out.
I think it's
my favorite watch in the sale, to be honest.
This is a beautiful watch.
It's your favorite watch?
Yeah.
Okay. Because you consigned it?
No, just because do you
think it's ever even been cleaned? I'm not sure it has. Maybe very lightly.
Very lightly,
but it's really strong. I think to the right buyer, this is easily a 250 watch.
Yeah. I was going to say like 200 Swiss francs, which is like...
Right, $250.
40, yeah.
So, I mean, you need to buy it in the 200 range to be safe, I think, as a dealer.
Just, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, you ask 250 and then some negotiation, you know, maybe you make your, you know, 5 to 10% kind of thing.
I think a lot of the stuff we're going to be competing with retail clients, so like it's...
Yeah, because this is a watch that's very hard to find in general. So, okay, well, I'm bidding on the computer on this 130. Let's see what it goes for.
Been going very, very strong stuff.
I mean, I'm going to bid at the end, but...
At 85.
Okay, bidding 90. Still bidding 95.
5 online, either of them.
It's one of my grails, personally.
That's it? One bid.
What? No way.
Online.
No way we're winning this.
Yes. We say 100.
There's no way.
Jeff, yes or no? Online.
Like I said, sometimes you got to be in it to win it.
$100,000 in the store with Jeff.
That would have been crazy. I really want it to be at like 100 hammer, but oh, come on, don't let him split the bid.
Well, 115.
Wow. Split the bid means let him go a $5,000 increment. All right, we're gonna do one more at 120 and then I'm out, because this is already where I want it to be entirely, but I'm already 20K higher than what I want it to be, but it's a special watch.
Online then looks like the bid is yours. And we're selling to you at $120,000. Sold $120,000.
We got our first lot. All right, so let's move next to the 1463. I need to look at this for a client. I'm gonna be completely honest. Like, I would love to buy it for myself and for inventory, but I promised the client that I would inspect this. We saw it in the last video. I looked at it quickly. Incredible. Tell us about this one.
So it's, from my understanding from my colleague Jonathan Burford took this one in.
Okay.
It's from the original family, great watch, condition. It has had some little touches, but it's consistent with the age of the watch.
Upkeep.
Yes. You have to have maintenance to keep them up with this quality. These watches were previewed across the world.
Okay.
They did very, very well.
A lot of interest.
Yes, Hong Kong.
Yeah, I mean, this is, like I was saying in the last video, 1463 is one of the ultimate grail chronograph references for Patek, and this configuration of the 1463 might be arguably one of the most desirable ones out there, you know?
And we also have a yellow gold version in the same sale right next to it for contrast, just because it's so unique to have two at the same time.
The estimates seemed a little high on that for yellow.
It is.
Starting at 120.
It is a little high because the watch came from the original owner, same as this one, but it was a doctor. It was a doctor from New Jersey that bought it, wore it, and then he realized that this was too much of a watch to wear as his daily beater.
Wow.
So he put it away. The son consigned it to me, and he was so like, I really don't want to part with it, but I'm not going to wear it. It should go to the next person. So we came up with an estimate because of what I believe the condition being there.
Right.
You know, the provenance of the doctor that used it.
Okay, this watch going to be bidding for a client.
At 140,000, 150 here with me. At 150,000 here with me. Who'd like 160?
I was expecting this to go crazy. There, it starts going crazy. All right, still low. I have to get it in at 300. That's it.
At 320.
I knew this was gonna happen though. We're out. Yeah, oh well, he says. I mean, I was expecting this. This watch sold for $1 million like in 2022. Like, there's no way it sells for half now. But $1 million was a crazy result. That was not reality. These generally sell in like the $400 to $600 range, but this is like such a grail. Oh, I love this watch.
$420,000. Fair warning gun. At 420. Sold 420,000. Fred.
Dude.
These are like three of the like ultimate grails.
So let's jump to this lot. I love AP Perpetuals. I'm wearing one right now. Everybody knows that. I talk about them all the time. Mother of Pearl, my favorite of all
Blue
time.
mother of pearl.
Denim Dan over here is going to be.
This is a 25820, so it is a leap year. I do prefer without the leap year, but beggars can't be choosers. What does this come with? Anything?
So this is just watch only. We have requested confirmation from AP.
Yeah.
From my understanding, it is correct. There's no issues with the watch. It's an E serial, which is 2000.
Right.
The condition tells you that it's mint, it's perfect. It just checks off all the check marks.
For me personally, I'm not a big like mother of pearl dial guy, but for Royal Oak Perpetual specifically, just specifically Royal Oak Perpetual calendars, like it's like
We've
different.
sold a few of these over the years, and I regret selling them. And I'm like, I wish I could keep them.
The results for the prior models, the 28526, have been 340 to 400.
There was a 25654 that just sold. We were gonna bid on it in Christie's, and it was watch only, and it went for like $480,000. It was absolutely crazy.
I think vintage APs are really strong in the market right
Well,
now.
they're coming back. Yeah, they're coming back.
There was a time when like
They went crazy during COVID, crashed. Royal Oak and Autos crashed, and
2022, and then
now they're creeping back up. You know.
I think they're slamming back up.
the only ones I would say are still soft are 5402s.
Yes.
5402s.
But they're not. The nice ones I'm doing, you know.
not like
Okay, the prices haven't skyrocketed back up, but the demand has increased
They're
a lot.
sellable, but not.
Well, because I think now buyers are realizing that there's a lot of value at the price points that they're at now. You know.
Also, they just like
Can you look
they
at
want
the
a deal because they know that there's deals out there, so they want to
Right.
they want to feel like they're going
to get a nice A series. You could spend $65,000 as opposed to spending $140,000. This is a watch that I'm just gonna have to like literally be there, play by. I might have you call me for it. It's honestly, it's hard to say now what I want to pay for it. It's just gonna be one of those in the moment, like.
And this was the last minute addition
There's very
to
few
the
watches
sale.
we get carried away as a dealer because we have to be a little bit,
I know, but I just love these so much.
But then like some things you just kind of let it ride, you know. You kind of.
Oh, I love this watch. I love Mother of Pearl APs.
20 QT.
I'm gonna throw in 180. Somebody took it. Jeez. I think it's 300, but I mean now we have to bid 220. Forget it. Now we're already there.
Like the max is like maybe 200.
I mean, I've sold a bunch of these. They're like impossible to buy now. Yeah, because 240 puts us at 300 all in or more. 240 now. Wow. I mean, these watches are special. Yeah, well, the last one earlier, non-leap at Christie's in November that we wanted to bid on sold for 380 all in, naked, you know, same as this. So this is leap. It should be a little cheaper anyways, but either way, you know,
Fair warning then.
240 hammers, good result. Let's take a quick interlude and just talk about this important watch. We're not going to be bidding on this. I think you might have to be expected for a client, but like, I just wanted to see it. I'll be honest though, to everybody watching, I'm not going to be bidding on it, but it is a $24.99 in pink gold second series, retailed by Gobi Milano.
Yep. Only one known, that configuration, second series, pink gold.
When you have an opportunity to handle a watch like this, even if you're not going to be bidding on it, you always got to take it. I mean, just wow. Tell us about this. Where'd it come from?
Has come up to auction 2 times before, so it has had big results. It was last time it was in Hong Kong. It's back to market. It's in great condition.
Conditions
It's
are beautiful.
aged. Lately, we've been getting a lot of great quality watches.
These watches, it was like you'd get one come up a year.
Yeah.
And now like it comes in waves, I guess.
Listen, I'm a 1518 guy, but I wouldn't kick that out the door.
Oh, no.
Just special watches.
What's incredible is that,
really
like,
special
right after this
watches.
came the 3970, which is actually smaller, if I'm not
It's-
mistaken. Smaller and thicker.
Thicker.
Yeah.
But
And so
that's-
this
and-
is like built like a Whopper, and the other one's built like a Big
Yeah.
Mac.
And I
This-
think that's why 3970s are finally having their moment, because like you could buy a 2499 4 series, or you could buy a 3970 for a little less, and it's essentially on your wrist. It feels like the same watch, you know?
In my opinion, this case side was really
See, like,
big.
I feel like
big,
for,
yeah.
for the years that this was produced, like it's got such a modern, like wearable
Feeling, yeah.
I mean, wearable depends on
They were ahead of their time.
your caricatures, but
What a wow watch.
Yeah.
What a wow watch. This is why I encourage everybody, if they're ever in New York, Hong Kong, Geneva, where they do these previews, or when they travel, to meet up with guys like Rich to like see these watches in person, just because it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and they're so great about sharing the accessibility, you know, or the access, I should say, to view these watches, you know?
In the US, we usually do travel exhibitions in LA, San Francisco, Dallas, New York, Chicago.
do you keep in mind like a Gobi Milano signature? Is that like more important here than it would be in Europe, or vice versa, or it doesn't make a difference?
I think it's the rarity.
I mean, I don't
Because I
care.
know like Europeans might find like Tiffany more exotic because it's an American retailer.
Well, the Asprey
versus
is the Asprey
might be
$24.99.
yeah.
I think this watch in particular is just so rare by itself. Second series pink, you know, any co-signature I think is going to have a similar impact because the watch is just so special by itself, you know, in my opinion. Okay, moving on to watches we're actually going to bid on.
Well, let's talk about the Panda.
Okay,
Go to the Panda.
let's go to the Panda next.
Please.
So Lot 45, estimate 250 to 500, 6263 Newman. We looked at it a little bit before.
Which I think is a really playable
Number, which is
Yes,
the only reason I put it out, because like, hey, you have to like pay attention at that estimate because it might be really buyable. you know?
It is, and the emphasis on the condition on this. Check out the dial, loop it, do all your research. You will not find a cleaner, nicer version like this season,
Yeah.
or that's come to market.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the only real knock I see is a little tiny bit of lume missing by the 5 o'clock, but you can't nitpick, and obviously the case has been polished, bracelet end links are not correct, but like, who cares? You can't,
The watch
that's
was
not important.
worn,
Yeah, it's not important. The dial, like you said, you can't find a better
You
one.
can't
This is
find a better
incredible.
dial. I'm sorry, like I would challenge.
I mean, yeah,
anybody.
I would probably stock this watch in that like 450 range.
Yeah.
You know, just again, it's a watch that you just can't find. You know.
I find that these have like kind of gone up, gone down,
Down.
gone
Yeah,
up,
but like so few
and now
people-
like you don't see them, and then like in a few months, like the few it's
so
been
few
a
collectors
crazy.
want to sell them. It's
Buy
my
them and keep
grail,
them.
Newman. So I get it. If I own this for myself, I would keep it. You know, if I could afford to. But it's such a special watch.
You've sold a lot of important Daytonas.
Yeah, you know, but like, yeah, for me, I would rather just have that. You know.
I think like most important collectors want to have at least one Newman in
I'll say this, probably if I had to keep one, it would be 626 Newman, but that's like a close second. But because I like pump pushers better personally,
Yes.
but that's,
Okay.
you know,
Okay, so the reason I like the 6262 dial better than the 6263 is because it has the Daytona.
Daytona.
right.
Other than that, and I'm not a huge fan of the 6239s with the tricolore, the red track. So 6262, I'm with you on that. But generally, I prefer screw, pusher, manual wind Daytonas.
Right.
And there's been great results for 6239s in the market lately too. So everything is pushing
For
back
nice
up
examples,
again.
yeah. That's the thing with Paul Newman's is that the gap between great examples and just nice examples like keeps widening, you know, because they're just getting so harder and harder to find in like perfect condition. All right, where are we going next?
So this is a series of prototypes that were made, I think, at the time that like Tourne, Grayville, Blancpain were like bidding for the Navy contract, the U.S. Navy. And I think that they made the prototypes, they didn't get the bid, and then some of these prototypes have now made their way into the market. I've only ever seen 3, and all 3 came from Adam Victor.
Yes.
Or through Adam Victor. So
I was supposed to get one of these on trade a couple of years ago, and it never happened. And I've owned almost every Blancpain 50 Fathoms variant because I'm so in love with them. It's my favorite dive watch. I've never owned one of these.
And Tourne Gravilles too, I've seen.
I've never owned one of these. And when I almost took one on trade, Adam and I were like commiserating on it. And it had some condition issues. I think the hands were replaced and this and that. And I didn't care. I was desperate to get it, and it didn't work out.
Honestly, you are
a really
the strongest
cool case.
dealer that sells Blancpains and Tourne Gravilles.
I think I just sell the most of them, you know, just because I love them, you know. So I'm always happy to buy them for stock. We have another great Aqualung no-rad coming to the site next week. Another great mil spec with great provenance coming back into the shop in a couple weeks once I could get it in. But this is beautiful.
Yeah, I've spoken to you over the years about these watches, and they're just great examples.
Dude,
and the collectors are getting bigger.
Because you know what? Like on the wrist, for me, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Sometimes you just have to like put a watch on and just like relate to how it makes you feel. And whenever I put these watches on my wrist, I just feel cool. I just feel so cool wearing these. And I don't know, it's just like an emotion that these watches give me in particular that is just not replicated with a lot of other watches. Fantastic. And the estimate I think is reasonable at this, 70 to 120. It's hard, it's a hard market to gauge.
It should break 100,000.
I think it will.
I think it will
you know?
Easily.
It's the first one to come up to public auction, I think.
In a very, 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 I believe.
Or if they come up to auction, it was like some.
No, they were privately. You're right.
I don't think it's ever been one
the first one at auction, or if it was at an auction, it was like some mom and pop little tiny auction somewhere. That
if this sells for 200 grand, I wouldn't be surprised. You know, you know, it's an opportunity to buy a watch that you might never have again. So I will be sitting at the computer patiently waiting and hoping I could actually get a bid in. So we have to try to buy it around the low. I don't even know. I've never sold one of these. This is the only like Blancpain, you know, 50 Fathoms type watch I never sold. I think it's going to go crazy, but let's see. I'd love to own it, but I just don't even know what to pay. I mean, listen, if it's going to go cheap, we have to buy it. I'm going to bid 60. No, it's already, somebody took it. 65, still should bid. Oh, somebody just took it again. The low at 70? All right, bid placed. It's at 75.80 now. It doesn't matter. It's now 85. Yeah, we're out. I knew this was going to go for over 100K. I was just praying it wouldn't.
At $95,000. Sold $95,000, Mr. Hess.
Can't win them all. I'm going to jump to these 2 strap models because I think the estimates you guys put on these are reasonable. So first we have a 1675 solid gold GMT-Master, no crown guard, so early version right after the first generation 6542. You also could tell that this is an early version based on the hands that they use that shared essentially the same hands as the Datejust. Yes. The estimate's 15 to 25,000, which is
very reasonable,
very laughably low. The case has seen better days. I think it could be improved because it is still thick. Let's see, the dial. Correct. So on these, you have to pay attention that these like early gloss style dials, specifically for these early gold GMTs, have the dash in between oyster and perpetual. They almost look like porcelain dials, though they're not. It's just lacquered. But you have to pay attention to that, the condition of it, how much that lacquer's worn off.
Oh, here we go. Now we're going to call them Stella dials.
No.
Here we go.
Yeah.
These are the dials that would typically become spider dials in some cases.
It was a very thin coat of lacquer though on these. It looks very nice. I don't see any flaws in the dial. I don't see any lume missing. All original tritium. So it has an engraving on the back, TJ Day, May 12th, 1967. Oh man, if this was May 14th, my birthday, maybe been a little harder. But I mean, this is a watch that I think comfortably retails. Obviously the biggest problem is without a bracelet because everybody wants gold watch and gold bracelet. Yes. But I think it comfortably retails to an end user in the 35 to 40 range.
That's what I've seen out on your website.
Right, yeah. I mean, we haven't sold one of these in quite some time, but I would be happy to bid on it, you know? So I think it's a watch that you have to buy right around maybe 30,000, all in. Case is pretty polished, and I don't really like buying them without gold bracelet, but estimate's 15 to 25, which is nothing. Always jumping towards the end. All right, we're gonna throw one bid at 20. Ah, geez, didn't even get it in. That's where I really want it to be, but so I have to buy a bracelet for it. Makes it kind of burdensome.
$20,000.
Yeah, 22. 24 would be 30 all in, plus the cost of a bracelet. You're close to 40K, and based on the case condition, I think it with a bracelet would be like a 45K watch. So wouldn't be for us, but fair price for somebody buying this for their wrist at like 30K all in. It's a rare watch, but not in the cards.
Last chance, 28. Sold, 28,000 to paddle 73.
So again, another solid gold sports model that does not have a bracelet, which is right away the biggest knock. This one has a pretty polished case and service insert, but
With that
look at
said,
the dial.
Dial.
The dial is this purple haze, absolute beauty.
Nice and even.
Sometimes you just have to I mean, that is so pretty. It's like the purple on my AP right now, and to find watches that age purple is just.
you're buying like style, look, and like less.
You're buying coolness, you know, like it's just a coolness factor. Yeah, it is a nice even color. I actually like how it's like more
in the
gold
center.
In the center,
Yep.
it's just different, you know.
It's like a little bit sunburst.
Yeah, super cool. And the estimate, again, 25 to 45,000. If this was head only without a purple dial, you know, just a regular blue dial, I'm buying it in the low 20s. So I don't think this estimate is that crazy, but as a dealer, I would have to buy it if I'm going to bid on it at the low, like very close, you know, because it's a watch that, again, you have to either find a bracelet for or give somebody a discount to account for the fact that they're going to have to try to find a
And it's an
bracelet.
expensive bracelet because it's like
It
the
is
gold
solid
flip wall.
gold, yeah.
Yeah, this would probably be the most expensive solid gold bracelet to find.
Because that's a gold jubilee that's like doable, but that gold
Yeah,
flip
solid.
oyster tough.
It's a wearability factor as well, too.
Yeah, I
Some
think-
people prefer the bracelet, and a lot of people.
So I will only wear a solid gold watch on a leather strap, but I understand, you know?
I'm the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, so both of these watches, they're one after the other. I think it's just one of those play by ear, you know? Yeah. Nah, I mean, it's already at 24 hammer, you know, with no bracelet, with a service insert. And it's already, you have to bid 30. No, this is crazy. I mean, we sold that beautiful one we got from Sotheby's for 55, you know, with a bracelet and like mint condition sticker on the back, you know? Wow, this is already like over 40,000. 1680s at 40 hammer, dude. With no bracelet, service insert.
Right, that's more than we paid for ours.
It's more than we sold ours for. 42 hammer now. We sold ours for 55. 45 and sold it for 55. Yeah, to watch Eric. Wow, it's at 45 hammer now. Good for him, man. So his watch should be worth 65 now? 70? If this is 45 hammer, which is 60K all in. Where are we going next, Sacha? Dealer's choice.
There's a Blancpain right there that
Okay.
we have glazed over.
Okay, so
LAP.
this is not an ordinary Blancpain. This one was co-signed by the retailer Lip. Surprisingly, Lip was contacted before Blancpain to make dive watches for French government and Jean-Jacques Cousteau, and they didn't want to do it. And then Blancpain did it, and they realized it was such a success and the watch was so great that they contracted with Blancpain to make watches for them.
So Lip also, I think, was involved in the radium luminous research directly.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
As the folklore goes, they essentially worked with French physicists to get the radium luminous material to be a thing in watches.
So with these watches in particular, though, you need to pay attention whether the triple sign. So you get signature on the dial. Well, it's actually the case,
Back,
the dust
inner-
cover,
inner back.
and the rotor.
quadruple sign.
Quadruple sign, essentially. Yeah, this might be a service back because the fact that it's not signed, which you see very common on Lip co-signed Blancpain.
Like a Blancpain but back with a lip dial.
No.
Service.
Service case back because it has no serial. I've seen this a million times.
Oh.
I have to do some more research, have you guys open that watch up to see the rest of it. But the estimate is very reasonable at 20 to 40. Like, if that watch is all original, all correct, it should be a $50,000 to $60,000 watch, you know?
Yeah, so a really, really nice example of this
Right.
quadruple sign, like you said.
Right.
I think for like between 16 and 17.
Yeah, with all these Blancpains, not just Lip co-signed ones, parts were swapped, replaced. You see generic dust covers all the time, just because these
UVs.
were tool watches that were very inexpensive and nobody cared.
Yeah, dial and bezel are radium,
Right.
and then the hands are.
Oh, hands are replaced.
Right.
Which, by the way, those hands are findable, you know, so if you wanted to revert it back to original, you could. But those are special watches. You know, the lip cosine stuff is very difficult to find.
Yep.
Very attractive, very interesting. I always liked this version with the
right.
Incabloc automatic at the bottom as opposed to the moisture indicator. You know, just kind of like a cool like radial at 6 o'clock.
Now I'm thinking the only thing we're missing is a Tornec Gravel in this sale.
Yeah, you guys are pretty.
Yeah, you guys did a great. You know, you guys did a really good job of like curating like a nice succinct sale because you only have like 120 lots in the live sale, right?
Very small sale.
Yeah, but it's always
Then you have like killer Patek, killer Rolex, some of the smaller niche stuff.
and all the more commercial stuff that's more bread and butter is the online sale. I like the way you guys do it.
I
It's
believe
really-
we have the best curated vintage auction this season out of all the houses
in New York.
in New York.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, so we have 4 lots
Vintage
left that we picked out that we are interested in bidding on. Let's go to 66, which is a Royal Oak we were just talking about. First reference 5402. This is a B
B
series.
series, which is less productions.
Yeah, it's technically less production than the A series,
Yes.
but you know people prefer the A series because it was earlier. With these, you're looking at a combination of the dial condition, case condition, what parts are replaced, because often the hands are replaced, the crown's replaced, the buckle's replaced in service. So
Which doesn't seem to be the case here.
does not. So correct unsigned crown, correct thinner hands with luminous tritium that matches the dial.
AP at bottom.
Yeah, correct. Obviously,
Swiss only dial.
Swiss only dial. Correct buckle with AP written out, Audemars Piguet written out, as opposed to just AP. That's the quickest way to know that this part was replaced. So, what's the estimate on this guy? 40 to 80. So it's starting a little
For a B
high
series.
for a B series.
But
But that being said,
the great condition, and we've seen great results for other
Yeah.
watches in the market.
condition.
Kind of in a lull, price-wise.
Yes, A series are still doing very well. We've had a few in the market that
Every single one I've seen come up recently has had like wrong dial, wrong this, blah blah blah, whatever. There's always like a lot of issues.
Yeah, another auction this weekend just had one, like Swiss made dial, like service dial, like, and you know, there was one that
Their estimate was also like high.
yeah, but they still sold well, you know? They still sold well. I mean, for me, this one at 40 hammer, because you guys went back up to 1.25, you're no longer 1.2, so that's 50 all in. I would probably be at like one bid below the low. So we'll see. Maybe I could sneak it out, you know?
you might be surprised. I think this will get a good result.
Yeah, I might not, yeah, because it's hard to find them in this condition.
It's also different for us because if it's on our website, it'll just, you know, sit there, and then at auction it'll go like 10, 15K more than we're asking. But it's just the magic of auction, which it's unpredictable.
Yeah, absolutely right. 3 lots left. You picked out this Journe Résonance.
Yeah, that's obviously looking for
Client.
for a client. Yes.
And Journe continues to keep going up.
It's crazy.
You know what? Like I gave such bad advice.
Why?
Like, don't worry. I'm sure I can find you one
It's
like
gonna
cheaper.
come down, yes.
It'll like I think these are like cool. It went the exact opposite way.
Yes. It did slow down for like a few seconds.
Yes,
And
yes.
then it
And
just
I'm
went
like-
straight back up.
It's crazy.
It's taken off like
It
on
is
another level.
crazy how well Journe is doing right now.
Across the whole model line.
And like every season, you're
That's
like,
what it is. Across the whole, even those
Yeah, the
elegantes are going
elegantes,
crazy.
yeah. The Darth
Crazy.
just did a great result today.
I remember like just before NABS 2020, just before COVID, a friend of yours came down to Miami to pick his up, and I was like, really?
Right.
And he's like, these are gonna blow up. And I'm like, I don't think so.
Yeah, it took a while, but they did.
And they kind of lulled around, and then like now it's just like vertical. Like
I remember years ago
lift off.
I worked for Betteridge Jewelers, and we were an AD in Vail. And the moment they said they were going to boutique only, I'm like, that's it. It's gonna blow up.
It's over.
It's
Yeah,
over.
It's over.
It's over.
This is beautiful. Platinum resonance
Brass.
with a gold movement, 120 to 240.
Which is laughably low.
Yeah. The market prices are all set for all of these. There's gonna be high bidding. A lot of.
I mean, it's not even there's no market price today. It's just like on the T30 that we
Oh,
were.
the T30 was an amazing price. It was like
That was crazy.
700 hammer. Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
it was
that's
crazy.
Wild. And
Wild.
a mutual friend of ours bought one that we thought was a very high price.
2 days ago for significantly less.
Yeah. So he's probably very happy.
He's
right
very
now.
happy right
Oh yeah, he's not here right now. He's probably like celebrating.
Celebrating at a bar.
champagne brunch somewhere.
Okay,
All the
so
money he saved.
2 lots left in the live sale before we dig into the online sale. We have the Breguet Empire that we saw with Jonathan a little bit earlier. Just an impossibly hard watch to find in general, and then impossibly hard to find in this condition.
I've seen them trade privately quite very, very, very steadily, like always around $75,000 to $80,000.
And remember, it's the Breguet anniversary this year.
And that's why I was a bit bullish on this one. I think it's going to do something a little bit surprisingly high because of the 250th anniversary, because they really don't come up in like that kind of like excellent condition.
Oh,
top.
What do you want to pay for it?
I'd be a buyer just shy of 7.
You could be way ahead of the market because it could blow up.
I mean, they're already very strong, and it has that movement that like Kari Vuccilanen has made like very famous, like the Peugeot 260. Early Breguet is really coming up strongly. There's Chomé Brothers era / Daniel Roth era of Breguet, which is like killing it at the moment. And then the earlier things where they were making like 12 watches a year or something like ridiculously low. This is like mid-century, 50s, 60s. So like
Large case.
for that,
Beautiful
for that
size.
time, that size, because I mean, Adam, you've had baby Empires, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Never had the large size one.
Yeah, and that's
I've never been able to buy one because every time it's been offered to me, I thought the price was too high, you know?
A lot of them have condition issues with the dial.
That's
Yes.
Yeah.
the guillechet always gets messed up.
yeah, it's like
it
peeling.
traps. It traps.
Yeah, or like
Traps
something-
dirt. It traps
Traps
dirt.
dirt.
Yeah.
And then it settles and it bakes
It's not even that. It's the coating or whatever they do on top that like starts
The varnish
to
starts
weather
to break
away.
down.
Yeah.
But it
Wither
gets
away.
trapped, right?
Yeah, beautiful watch. I'm a little more conservative. For me to want to stock this personally, I think it has to be in like that 60 range.
I would
Go. I'd go.
I'd pay like 10K more.
I'd go a little
You
bit
could bid on it without me then, I guess. I know what it took to sell the smaller versions, and it's much more niche and focused collector.
Different
time,
different
period.
different.
Like I said, I've never had one of these, you know, and
Different animal.
There's a long list of people waiting to add one of those to their collection.
Okay, so last but not least, we have what seems to be a very polished 3700, which will
the-
definitely need case.
The weird
refinishing.
engraving on the back.
But the engraving on the case back is actually very
kinda cool.
unique.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's start there.
That's what sets the watch apart. Provenance is from the family of an original Yankees player. So
okay.
it happens the player's son had this watch and he had it engraved. And it has that provenance. It comes from the family, so it's in great condition. It's been worn. But the engraving of the case back sets it aside. An oval monogram, crosshatch. It's like
Yeah, so
different.
replaced hands. Yeah, this is tough, you know. I mean, because it's starting kind of low at 100, but
If it was a nice one, yeah. that would
yeah,
be-
I mean,
I'd be
listen,
all
the
over
case
it.
could be improved. We have some of the best people who work on Nautiluses, but the problem is you can never return the embossed logo back to once it's been polished off.
There's no coming back from that.
But it's still a strong bracelet.
Yeah.
We hold it through our finger.
No, yeah, the watch is still
Very
you know,
strong.
it just whoever polishes obviously didn't know what they were doing. That's the problem. But it can be wildly improved because there's still a lot of gold there. I mean, I would keep an eye on this, but it would have to be, you know, like I said, right at that low estimate for me to want to be interested because it needs some TLC.
It does, but if you compare other...
It's going to sell though because you put it in at the right
Yeah.
number for sure, you know? That about wraps it up for what we are interested in bidding in Sotheby's live June sale. We need to go sit down and go through a lot of great stuff they have in their online sale.
Yes.
But some fantastic watches. Rich, thank you so much for sitting with us and filling in the gaps on some information we needed. Appreciate it. Hopefully we can win a few lots.
You are always lucky.